based on some questions that has been received from one of the students in the institute. He was a student in the institute actually some time back, and we got connected through some cultural activities. And she posed some questions. So her name is Anindita, and she posed some questions to me regarding her confusion or her want to understanding what religion and science, where the conflict between religion and science is. And so her observation is basically there are a lot of people um, who are fixed in their beliefs, and they don't want to change. And that type of people she is experiencing, not just in the domain of religion but also in the domain of science. So it is not that if you are a religious person then you are unable to change your beliefs. So she has also experienced that people who are in science are also unable to change their belief. So that led her to led some questions in her. And that is why I am trying to present something which I hope will remove some of the doubts and provide some clarification um, on this thing. So this is actually what presentation I am going to make is my own personal understanding of religion and science and the greater human phenomenon in general. So how this interrelate to each other. So her questions actually aroused some, like I went back and tried to think of how to answer her question. So let us look at the questions. So you will understand there have been a lot of questions, and probably these are some questions which are there in most of our minds, most of the minds of people who think for some time, and they spend some time thinking about what is happening around the world, and what they see around themselves. So these are some common questions. However, as you will notice in the questions, they are questions which have come probably at various instants of time, and they have all been collected together. So going through these questions and answering them one by one was not a very good idea, which like appeared to me not to be a very good idea. So I read the questions twice, thrice, and then I thought that we can probably start from the fundamental. So what is the fundamental? And from there we begin and investigate by doing some intellectual analysis and observation. Based on the observations, can deduce some like we can discover some general truth about the phenomenon that is happening around the world. So that is also the way of discovering knowledge. In any knowledge system we try to do that, and I am trying to employ the um, same philosophy or same idea behind understanding what is happening has led to all these questions. So I let me just read some of the questions which are more important, like why there are many prejudices related to religion, then what is the conflict between religion and science. So, and should or should not scientists believe in God, and should like personal belief come in the way of science. So all these things are, can religion go and science go hand in hand? Very big question that's coming nowadays to us. And the final question is actually the most relevant question, is that our view as normal beings. However, probably all these questions will not remain answered in this particular um, presentation or interaction. But hopefully, Anindita will get somewhere to begin with answering these questions. And if there are further questions, we can take up um, next other sessions, ongoing sessions like. So let me start with the fundamentals. So after looking at this all these questions, so I thought, what is the fundamental understanding that actually created religion and science? And what I felt is that fundamental understanding is the realization of a greater power or greater powers. So the human being has realized from its very starting, from the very starting of the race of human being, when it has observed the world around around itself. So those early humans, starting from there till now, a new human baby being born, all of them will have a realization that some greater power is, and this realization will come by simple observation of the world around us. I don't know if this realization comes in animals other than human beings, but even if this realization comes there, they don't do anything about it. That is for sure. They don't do anything about it. However, human beings, when they realized that a greater power is in action, they did something. What did they do? They went into two different paths. One group of people went in the path of worship, went in the path of worship. And what did they worship? They saw around them all these phenomena happening, like rain, like sun coming up again and again uh, every day, like lightning striking. So they understood that these are great powers. Even we understand that these are great powers. These are greater powers than we cannot make the sun move around, uh, like from the reference point of the earth, around the earth. So we cannot make the sun move around the earth, right? We cannot make the rain fall. We cannot make the lightning. So it happens. There is a natural force. There is a great natural power is at work. So this realization has led to worship of these natural phenomena in forms of objects and energy. So we have observed that in the very early civilization, people people used to worship stones or some trees or like that earth, some sacred place. They would worship the energies like rain, sun, lightning, all these energies they would worship. So they went down at the feet of these greater powers, and they expected that that uh, their prayers or their concerns would be listened by these greater powers. So they felt that since they are great, these powers are greater than the power of of them of those human beings of like these powers are greater than their own powers. So they felt that these powers have the capacity to influence their lives, and they saw that they are having actually the capacity to influence their lives. The seasons change everything. The livelihood depends on these powers. So they bent down and they tried to worship these powers, tried to win favor from these powers. So when this is the attitude, so then we can say that they thought about these powers being conscious in nature, that they are conscious, they can understand the problem of these human beings. However, they are non-sentient, non-sentient that they don't have the sense organs. So the sense organs as we have, we can see, we can hear, and touch. All these sense organs are not active in those greater powers. However, they must be conscious, otherwise how they will be able to understand? Consciousness what gives you a understanding of what is happening around us. So these powers must also be conscious, and that is the belief with which they used to worship. So that is one portion of the people who came into this ritualistic uh, worship phenomenon. Another set of people went into understanding these greater powers through logical understanding. They tried to logically understand what is happening around them. Tried to logically understand. So when they tried to logically understand this, so this group of people went into two modes of understanding. First mode of understanding was a subjective or a philosophical understanding, and the second was a objective or a scientific understanding, what we call the scientific understanding. If we read the philosophies or the ancient spiritual texts in India, at least I know much of it, probably around the world also, we have found many religious texts where this greater power. So the question is about what is this greater power. So that is the question that people are asking. So they found that this greater power can be of can be with form, or it can be formless also. In India, both form and formless greater power is recognized. So, and however, this is the more important. So they, whether it be form or like formless is not sentient as such, but with the form it is sentient. So there is a sentient, there is a concept of like develop that the concept got developed that this greater power is having form as well as it is sentient, and it is of course conscious. This is the idea that developed to the philosophical mode of inquiry. So there is in Indian texts there are like called the Darshan Shastra. So this text, as well as it originated of course from the Vedas, and then there are texts, the philosophical texts are called the Darshan. So they formulated several what I should say, bodies of knowledge where axiomatically and then going to logical reasoning, everything was laid down. So it forms a class of text. So another stream of people who are trying to logically understand the greater power in action are the people who try to see everything very objective. So they wanted to. What was their mode? Say, so they found that everything they were able to measure. So this is a very important attribute of this group of people. So they found that whatever was in action, whatever around the world is happening, so they were able to measure them in some way or the other. And they and the thought actually came into being in this way, that whatever they could measure, only that they could understand. Of course, that is the objective understanding. Otherwise, things will be in a subjective mode of understanding and go into the philosophical um, class of logical understanding. But when we are trying to make objective understanding, we have to measure things. Otherwise, we will not be able to do objective. Now, from something being of with some form, and this is some form, it can be any form basically, and formless, it became a measurable thing, something which is very manageable, something we can actually measure by actually put some boundary to. So when we put some boundary to something, only then we can measure that thing. So it became measurable, and it became non-sentient and non-conscious. All the different forms of energy or different forms of power, the forces that we talk about in science, are all having these attributes. So they are measurable, they are non-sentient, they are unconscious. I have not written unconscious, I have written non-conscious, just parity. So they are non-conscious. So we have tried to understand the world in these three different modes. All the people in the world will either follow one of these. Most of the people, I should not comment in general, but most of the people follow either one of these. Now, for the people who are worshipping ritualistic, their life ends here. Like they understand there is some greater power, they simply worship. They don't try to logically understand what that is. But then there are some people who try to logically understand what that is, and there is one class which is the philosophy and another class which is science. One is subjective, another is objective. The main difference. Now, when we look further, what did these people who logically understand, after understanding this energy, what did they do? After understanding whether the greater power is the form with form or formless, sentient, conscious, or even that power is like measurable, non-conscious. What did they do? What is the next step that they took? Next step is this. So those people who followed this philosophical path, they formulated some some rites and meditation sort of thing on this greater power. So whatever they recognized as form and formless, sentient and conscious, they formulated some meditation. So they used to meditate on that power, or they used to practice some rites. So it is almost ritualistic, but their rites were having the background that they already understood what it is. They did not simply go into the mode of worship. The worship had an understanding behind them. Whatever be that understanding, some can refute it, some can acknowledge it, that is another debate. But they had some understanding, some logical understanding there was, and they came to the conclusion that the greater power is like this, and on that greater power now they are trying to meditate or perform some rites and rituals so that they recognize that greater. They are not simply bowing down to the greater power and putting down prayers and begging to that greater power, not like that. They are recognizing that. So the concept was that meditation concept is totally that, since rites and rituals formulated after recognition of the philosophical aspect was meant to be like that, but perhaps some people will also do prayers and like ask something in return. Those sort of things will inevitably happen. Why this happens, that is also something I have there some slides to. But the point is that these rituals, meditation and other rites, this thing happens with a prior understanding of the greater power. So they understood what is the greater power. After that, they started to meditate or worship in order to recognize it. They gave some recognition. Yes, I understand the greater power now. In that mode, this was developed. What scientific people did, when they saw that they could measure things, they could manage them, and they could understand them, so they developed ways of utilizing the different energies at work. So they utilized fire, they utilized water, they utilized all the different energies around us. So in different modes they utilized. So then all these different technological progress came into the human civilization. They did something called the engineering and technology. With the scientific understanding, engineering and technology came, and they could actually manipulate nature. So we as human beings started manipulating nature for our own good, or for our own, let's say, for our own use. So whatever way we wanted to use them, we found some way. We found some way to utilize the natural power which was there. So we started utilizing it. What it led to? It led to the understanding that man is greater than God. God here I have put in quotes because I want to mean the greater power. So this is a common saying actually, man is greater than God. So that's why I use this. But God here is referring to that greater power which we inherently understood. So now these people who are following the path of science, they started to use the power available in the nature, and that led to an understanding that the human being is greater than this power because they are able to utilize it. That's why. So when you are able to manipulate that power for your own good, you will of course develop an understanding that man is greater than God, that you are greater than that power because you are able to manage. But the problem is that this realization that man is greater than God is in direct conflict with the inherent realization that greater powers than us is in action. That realization is inherent. We began with that realization. So it is almost like we begin with an assumption and then we come to a conclusion which is in direct conflict with the assumption. So it is like proving by this is called uh, uh, I don't remember the term. So if Anindita, you are there, so if you can remember the term,
Yes.
proving by contradiction, right? Contradiction,
Right.
right? Proving by contradiction. So here it is almost like proving by contradiction. So I came to a conclusion which to the contradicted the initial assumption. That will mean that whatever I concluded is not correct. So that is the meaning of proving by contradiction or disproving by contradiction. So what I came to the conclusion here, what I want to come to the conclusion, that the understanding man is greater than God is should not be a correct conclusion because it violates the inherent assumption or the inherent realization. And of course, if people are not blind enough, they will understand that this conclusion is not correct because still we have not been able to understand the whole nature of the greater power in action. We have been able to utilize, of course, in some boundary we have been able to utilize that power, but in totality, what is the exact nature of it, how exactly it works, all these things are not yet known to us. And And some people have started realizing that perhaps we'll never be able to know that. Even if we are able to know that, that does not mean that we become greater than that, because that power was already present and before we existed in this. We are not greater. We have come from that. Some way have come from that power, have been born from that. So that is the realization of the philosophical people also. Realization that the power is greater than human being, and they identified some characteristics of that power in their own way. So what these people who felt this conflict, who realized this conflict, what they would do, what would they do? So they understood that the whole process that they were going through, the whole process is not incorrect. The process has led to some discoveries. All those are usable discoveries. All those have led to progress of human civilization. But this understanding is wrong. That this is everything. That science is everything, and that is the so this man is greater than God is also similar to the understanding that science is everything, and it is like all answers are there, or like rooting into the like uh, like saying that um, like you believe in science so you don't need anything else. So it is not that. So these concepts will come in direct conflict with your inherent realization if one really thinks about it. So what do these people who came in relation with this concept they would do? So of course there are people who have come through the path of logical understanding. So they would not suddenly be able to shift to the path of worship directly, because this is actually the level of thinking. Their way of thinking is logical. Their way of thinking is logical. Their way of thinking is not simply accepting everything and going into a mode of worship. Not like that. They would always be logical. That is their inherent nature. But when they understood that their way of thinking has given them to have are is arising is making them arrive at a conclusion which is in conflict with a with a inherent realization which is above the level of thinking. Actually this is a feeling. We already have a knowledge like that. It is like a inherent knowledge. So it is in conflict with that. Then they what would they do? They would try to change their level of thinking. In the level of thinking they would try to change, but they would try to explore. I would not say change, because you like scientific people will not abandon science. They would try to explore. So they would try to go and try to see what there is this particular line of work. So they would also look for answers, the philosophical field of exploration. So when they look in the philosophical field of exploration, they would eventually, if they understand this thing, they would eventually again come back to this thing, and this is not in conflict to the inherent realization. Since this is not in conflict with inherent realization, so this mode of understanding will not be challenged by themselves. So someone who has understood this someone who has adopted this mode of understanding, or who has gone through this mode of understanding, they will not one fine day challenge this mode of understanding, because it is never in conflict with that inherent realization. They will probably do a tidbit here, so whether it is form or formless, so this sort of debates will go on. sentient, someone will say no, not sentient, conscious. So probably these are the most like accepted. They are sentient and conscious, these. But debate can go on here. But ultimately, whatever they come to some, so some people come to understanding of this greater power as something I can represent by A. Some people will come to an understanding of B. So whatever be their understanding, they will start meditating and worshipping that thing. But it will come from a logical understanding. Hence, they will not try to change it, because they will recognize that it is that their recognition that it is the greater power will not be in conflict with the inherent realization. So they will play around here. They will sometimes will look at A, they will sometimes will look at B. Okay, but they will not leave this mode of understanding. They will not leave this mode of. So this is my thought um, about these different uh, streams of discoveries, or the different streams of acknowledging this inherent realization and what it led to. So this is a very fundamental points I have tried to cover. What exactly is there in these philosophies? What exactly is there in the rituals? All these things are have to be like taken up in detail. And I also don't know many of the rituals. I know some of the philosophies, so I can only talk about them. So this is what the general observation I have made, and from there I have tried to make some. Now, after we understand that, understand this, then we can try to define what is religion actually. So if you observe, we have not tried to say anything about religion here till now. We have talked about worshipping, we have talked about philosophy, science. We have not tried to talk about religion. What is religion? Religion can be defined, if you observe religion, the religions are trying to define a code of conducting. So you have to do this, you have to be like that. So this sort of code of conduct is there in every religion, with some ritualistic worship, with an idea of a greater power behind them. So they have put the idea of a greater power. You have to be like this, you have to do like this, so that you don't enrage, or you are in acceptance with the greater power. So in that sort of mode, religion is designed. So with this ritualistic worship, I have ordered some fundamental belief. So in place of ritualistic worship, we can also include this, that it is some fundamental belief. Some fundamental belief means, suppose I worship trees in a jungle, a particular tree in a jungle. I will be safe when I go into the jungle to my daily business. If I worship a particular rock, I will be safe from danger if I when I enter the jungle. If I worship a particular energy, I will receive something. So these sort of ideas are there. So these are fundamental beliefs. However, fundamental beliefs and this mode of worship does not get restricted to ritualistic worship or meditation and other rituals. Fundamental beliefs can come anywhere. So there are some fundamental beliefs where to which people will cling into. They will not leave that belief. That is what I am trying to say. These are fundamental beliefs. The beliefs are beliefs. They might not have any logical conclusion, or they might not have been arrived at through some logical conclusion. They are simply beliefs. So some people may have arrived at some belief through some logical conclusion. When he passes on to that belief to another person, if he does not uh, talk about the logical understanding, then this remains a simple belief to the second person. That second person will not take it in a mode of logical understanding. He will take it in a mode of belief only. So this can be possible in every mode of discovery that has been described here, even in philosophical, in scientific, in ritualistic. In every mode of discovery, this fundamental belief is always possible. In worship, there is no logical understanding, so they are all beliefs. But when you worship, when you do some rites and rituals after logical understanding, and don't pass on that logical understanding to your next generation, then it becomes a belief to that next generation. It does not come through a logical understanding. Similarly, even in science, if you simply accept facts and truths, laws of science as they are, and don't really understand the logical reasoning behind them, they are beliefs. So either you have to understand the logical reasoning, or you have to experience, that yes, this is how it works. So we always experience the law of gravitation, we always experience the laws of motion. So we don't, even if they are told to us simply like that without giving a logical understanding how the mathematical proof goes, we will still accept them because we experience them. In philosophical discourse also, some things can be experienced, other things has to be logically told to us, logically understood by us. So like probably we all understand the phenomenon of gravity. So this is how things are working. So they have told there is something called gravity, so there must be something called gravity. So something called gravity is holding things in place, holding the planets in their orbits. That's fine for any layman. But if I give that layman the actual equation of gravity that is coming, that we have been taught about in school, without making them understand how that equation has arrived, then he will simply look at that equation and put it in his pocket and go about and show other people that, see, I have got the equation of gravity, but he will not have any understanding about it. So it will be a simple belief that yes, this is the equation of gravity. It will not come from any logical understanding. So this sort of things can happen in even in science and even in philosophy. However, these things are also important. There is an importance of this sort of things. What is that importance? You have to start from something. So this is something to start with. Even if you, so whatever your bent of mind is, whether it is logical or whether it is you are totally devoid of any making any thinking process. So whatever be your mode of working of your brain, you have to be given with something to start with. So these fundamental concepts, fundamental beliefs, or this ritualistic, even the ritualistic worships are something we all are given to start with. Now, depending on whether I am logical or not, I have the faculty of thinking or not, I will start questioning this. I will start to try to understand this or not. So if it is or not, then that is another thing. But if I start to question these things, I try to logically understand, I will come to either one of these, either this or this, or both. So most of us are taking something from both actually. So we will go into these paths, and going into these paths, if I actually go into this path, I may also come to this realization. This thing I will realize, and I would probably be doing some rites and rituals also. I'd probably be doing some rites and rituals also, and meditation also. If I only come to this path, then I will remain here. I will understand whatever has been discovered about the laws of nature from objective point of view. I will understand all these things. I will understand the engineering and technology. However, if I reach this conclusion, then I will be in a trap. But if after reaching this conclusion, after this wrong conclusion, I come to the realization that I am in conflict with the inherent realization, then I am fine. Then I will again go back and try to understand more of it. So this is something to start with. But the problem is this, that most people will not be of a logical frame of mind. They will not try to change. Whatever they are given with to start with, they will stick to that. Or sometimes we will see that they will make one or two moves here and there, but then they will not change. So this phenomenon of not changing is very apparent, or very much a real phenomenon, or very much a what should I say, very much a rampant phenomenon in the human being. They will do something for some duration of time, and then they will stick there. They will not try to improve further.
I have a question here.
Yes.
If some people start with something and then they find that through the understanding as well that they don't need to change, so that should be fine, because they through previous various observations or various interactions with other people, they see, let's say, come to a conclusion that okay, my philosophy feels better to me,
Hmm.
so then they shouldn't or they will not change. So
Yes.
that happens to most of the people.
Yes. Now, my question is, so what I told here, that when will you actually come to that conclusion that what I have understood is right and I don't need to change? Okay. When your beginning assumption and your final realization are in concurrence, then you can stop. So this what I am doing is a very intellectual thing. So I am not having any bias here. I am trying to do a very intellectual thing. So you should stop only when your beginning, in your inherent or your starting assumption is your final conclusion is aligned with your initial assumption, and you are not in a conflict there. What happens? Many people are unable to realize this conflict also. Many people are unable to realize this conflict also. So they would think that whatever they have understood is correct, because you will ask people, do they like, what is the inherent realization that they are having with them? Does this realization, which I have said here in the blue box, that greater powers are in action, that realization is there within all of us, but are they able to acknowledge it also? Many people will not be able to acknowledge it. They had been so much conditioned by the fundamental belief. They will not be able to acknowledge it yet. However, they all had this realization some point in their life. And if they dig deeper, they will still have this. We have not come to anywhere, like we cannot even ever come to this idea that we are greater than this these powers which are there in the, that will be absolutely a bullshit thing, because simply these powers always existed before we came into this earth, and they will remain, they will continue to exist even if we are not here. These powers are obviously, of course, greater than us. Yes, we may have come with the ability to utilize them in some extent, in some boundary, but that doesn't mean that we would become greater than them. So if we land into some conclusion like that, or similar conclusions, so this man greater than God is having similar conclusions also. So like this scientific uh, discourse is everything, and we don't need to go anywhere else. So this sort of ideas are also similar ideas to this concept of man being greater than God. So if we land into those sort of conclusions and believe that we are good and we don't need to progress and there is nothing else to think about, then we are actually not in understanding with the conflict with our inherent realization. We are not able to acknowledge that conflict, and that also happens. This is also a phenomenon that happens in people. And why this happens, the next part I will try to answer why this happens. Most people will not change, so that is something we have observed around us. They will hold on to their belief, and they will hold on to their beliefs even when they are in conflict with their inherent realization, with the realization that I have told here. Let us stick to that. If one questions that realization, then there is something, then this entire discussion will not stand if there is a question there. But if we accept that initial assumption, then all other things that have come from there, if there is some problem in logic or there in that discourse, then we can rethink about. Unless otherwise, we are in a state now to declare that most people will not be able to identify this inherent conflict with, and they will not change. They will hold on to some understanding about the world, about their beliefs, maybe in religion or maybe in science, maybe it is ritualistic worship, maybe it is um, some philosophy of them or some scientific understanding. They will they will hold on to it and they will not change. So whatever something they were given to begin with, they will hold on to it. Perhaps they will move around a bit, but then they will finalize them. Yes, that is all. Why this happens? This happens because we are by nature stubborn. Stubborn, I mean, by the word stubborn, I mean we are stuck in the superficial mode of expression. Superficial mode of expression means what I actually do, what I show around in. I don't change that. I keep on showing that thing again and again. So I become something. So my attitude, my behavior, my way of walking, or way of walking would probably remain same. It does not affect anything. But the way I do certain things, so all these things become, all these things are my superficial mode of expression. So these things don't change. Then most of the people are stupid because they will be stuck in an intellectual limbo. So whatever they have thought about, they will not change from there. So most people you will see who are not changing in their physical behavior. They are not changing in their mental behavior as well. Their thoughts, their mode of thinking, their pattern of thinking will always remain same. And also because they will be insensitive. you will see that the people who are not trying to change are also the people who are one of the most insensitive people in you will see around you. They will be they are insensitive in the sense they will be unable to acknowledge their own feelings. Perhaps they are sympathetic to you for something, but they will not be able to enable their not be able to acknowledge their inherent. This is a very subtle thing to recognize. It is a subtle thing to recognize in others. It is easier to recognize in oneself actually that I am unable to acknowledge my inherent. It is very difficult to acknowledge to recognize it in others that this person is unable to acknowledge his or her own feeling. Someone from outside is it is very difficult for that person to put this conclusion. However, the observation of this world will lead us to this conclusion that they are not changing in their mode of expression, they are not changing in their mode of thinking, they are not changing in their mode of feeling also, and that actually means if there is some inherent feeling in them, they are not actually acknowledging them. They are not actually acknowledging them. And that is what I said. So even if there is a conflict, they will not be able to acknowledge it. And that is why they don't change. And these things, these insensitive, stupid and stubborn, what I have termed here, this actually arises from key levels of operation in a human being. And perhaps I am now going into a bit of a spiritual discourse because this is our recognition from spiritual philosophies that we are basically working from different levels of we have different levels of expression or different modes of operation, different levels of operation. So the different levels are the level of our soul, the level of our mind, and the level of our body. Soul meant physical level. And as I told already, right, you can understand that the insensitiveness will happen if I am unable to recognize my soul character. The property of stupidity will happen if I am unable to recognize that I am a thinking person and I will I'll be stubborn if I am unable to recognize that I can really actually different expression. So these recognitions are important that we can work from different levels, different fields can work. So in us, in what we consider as us, in that system, there are these different levels from which we can really work. And mostly we are when we see others, we are noticing their physical expression. And this physical expression is the level of superficial expression and action. Whatever you observe in them, it is their physical expression. If we are talking with some people and trying to understand how they think, what is their thought pattern, how they analyze things, so these things will reveal their mental expression, the mental level of what, and also their emotions. Understand their emotions. This one, the soul, is the most subtle level of expression. The level of inherent knowledge and feeling. That level which I started with. Most people will be unaware of this existence. Most people will be unaware of. They will be aware of their mind and body, but they will not be aware of. Probably most people will not be aware of they it is our common experience that we don't acknowledge our feelings, the deeper feelings don't acknowledge. We subdue it with what our mind says and what our body wants to. This is a very apparent phenomenon in all of us. If we sit down and think about our own life and own lives and analyze or reflect on them, then also we'll come to understand that many times or almost every time we have not acknowledged our deeper inherent feeling, but there is something. Whenever there is something there, that means it exists. It exists. There is a level of existence there which is even beyond our mind level. A simple knowing is a simple knowledge. You know something or you feel something. So and that is actually true. You have also experienced that it is not just some passing thought, it is actually a deep intuition. And when I use the word intuition, I refer to it as something which you know to be something true, which you come to know by itself without any other source of like analysis or anything. You just know it. That is what intuition is defined as. We all have such intuition. Some people have more, some people have less, but this comes from the level of our. So that level most of us are unable to recognize. That is what my submission here is. And another thing that we should understand is that from the level of soul, if you are able to recognize the level of soul, your level of knowledge and feeling, you will think about it and then take action. So this actually happens in this manner. There is a flow of activity. There is a flow of activity. Sometimes this chain is not there, this link is not there because you are unable to recognize that there is your inherent some feeling is. You will only analyze in your brain, in your mind, and then take an action. You will do that. You will be in the loop of your mind and body, leaving your soul aside. Most of us are in this form of expression with our mind and body. That is the reason why we are unable to understand the conflict of our inherent realization. First of, because we are not in touch with our, this is left aside. This is left aside, and that inherent realization happens in this. It had happened sometimes, but perhaps have forgotten about. We are so engaged the mind and body game that we have left that inherent realization as. Once we start acknowledging that inherent knowledge and then it will be able to drive the mind, and the mind will be able to drive the body in order to change one, in order to go from one mode of existence to another mode of existence. This happens rarely, not to not to everyone. This doesn't happen to everyone. This happens only to those for whom the soul has an expression, or for whom who has a an recognition that the recognition of their soul. They have a recognition of this. It is not left as. So for them, they will be able to understand whether there is an inherent conflict. Now, one thing I should say here, whether or not you are acknowledging the soul. So if you are, suppose I say, no, I will be in the mind body game, so I don't need the soul. but it doesn't work that way. It is there. It is there. So this is what the spiritual philosophy says actually. It is there, even if you don't acknowledge. And what it will do, if you are doing something, if you are in a mind body game in such a way that it is not aligned to your inherent realization, that inherent realization you have forgotten, you are not acknowledging it, but it is there. And if you are not aligned to that inherent realization or inherent feeling, you will develop some frustration somewhere or the other, either now or sometime later. You will start developing a frustration. That is an indication that you are not doing or not in the correct path. If you are developing frustration, you are not satisfied by what you are doing, this thing will naturally lead to a conclusion. You should try to make a conclusion that somewhere something is wrong. In a very deeper place, something is wrong. That frustration comes from the mismatch between what we are doing and what our soul has already had a recognition. And you see, I again come back to this slide just to highlight that what I already told, that this realization that greater powers in action, this comes from the level of our soul. This comes from the level of our soul. So this is an inherent knowledge that we all have. This is an inherent knowledge that we all have. Now, this level, whether we are going in a logical understanding or in the worship level, this is decided by us. This is a faculty of our mind, in which direction we want to go. So this is decided by our mental ability. Whatever else we are doing, this is our external expression. That is the physical attribute. And most of us will be confined to what we are physically expressing. We will keep on expressing that again and again, because it is difficult to also change our mental thought or mental mode of thought. And it is more difficult to even acknowledge that there is something called soul and change things from there. So these are levels which are higher, or levels which are more abstract, more subtle. We can always experience our physical level of existence. Mental we can experience, but it is difficult to change. So if the mental level does not change, our physical expression will not change, because the mind drives the physical expression. And the mental level will not change unless we have a change from the soul. So this is how things work. That is why people will not change unless there is a recognition of the soul. They will not be able to change them. Sometimes even without recognition of the soul, they might move around. So if we have a logical brain, we will move around in these loops, philosophy or science. Sometimes we will do this, sometimes we will do that. This might happen. Or if there are some other modes of logical understanding, there we will try to go. But our mind will be only fixed in the logical mode, logical understanding. Of course, this one is better than simply worship. So actually what I should say is, if I am worshipping, I will not go in the logical mode of logical understanding. I will be stuck there. If I am simply worship without any logical understanding. That logical understanding has to be driven, that this change, the change in the mental level, has to be driven by a recognition of the soul. Otherwise it cannot be driven. The change in the mental level cannot be driven by something physical. This physical level is lower than the mental. something which is higher than the mental level can only change the working of the mental. That is the soul. And this actually leads us to a conclusion, and here I will try to conclude the presentation here, that what is the duty. So that there was the last question, what is the duty of human beings? To understand that, let us again recap what we have told about soul, mind and body. So from the level of soul we have the ability. So these have different abilities. Their bodies with which we are working, and they are having a distinct, very characteristic ability which is not present in the other bodies. So in the level of our soul, it is our ability to feel. Feel means not emotion, it is a feeling, it is like a direct knowledge, it is like an intuition. It is the ability to do that. In the mental level, we have the ability to think. We have intelligence, we have intellectual discourses, we have the ability to think, take decisions, etc. Remember, memory, all these things in this body, in the mental body. Characteristic thing is we have the ability to think. In the physical body, it is the ability to express. So if we don't have the physical body, you try to imagine, I don't have the physical body, or for some reason my physical body is not working. However, my soul and mind is working. So I am able to feel, I know what is right, what is wrong. I know what is to be known. So everything comes to me naturally. I can understand everything intuitively. So I can also think about those things, but nothing is expressed. Nothing comes out as an expression. Everything remains there, stuck there, and we are unable to express. The physical body is important because it expresses our what we are. So this is the different abilities of the bodies, and now as human beings, what our duty should be, if I have to conclude in the line of this discussion, this discussion, which is based on the apparent conflict between religion and science, and that phenomenon of people being stuck in a not changing, or stuck in a belief system. So in that purview, if I want to say what would be the duty, then I would say that our traditional institutes or traditional institutions are focusing much on these two levels. Traditional institutions are focusing much on these two. We are taught how to, we are not taught how to think, but whatever process we are gone through in our schooling system, in our colleges, etc., it develops our ability, develops it to a great extent, develops our ability to, it also develops our ability to express. We are also able to express what we think. We work in such a mode which directly reflects our bent of mind. However, none of our traditional institutes develop our ability to left unattended. And unless we address this, so my submission here, or the thesis I try to present here, comes to this conclusion: unless we are able to recognize this, we will not be able to change from our fundamental belief. And none of our traditional institutions are teaching us or training us in our ability to feel, in our ability to know intuitively. And that is some ability that is there in all of us, but we have forgotten it. we are not acknowledging our soul, that we have a level of existence. Soul is the level of our soul. So we need to start understanding. And if we understand this, we need to start passing on this understanding to our fellow human beings and our coming generation. Because unless this is discovered, the civilization, the human civilization, the world will be full of people who will not be able to change, will stick to a certain belief system and start thinking that they are right and the others are, and that is the nature of stubbornness. The stubborn people, the people who are not changing, it is very astonishing to also notice that they are so certain about what is right and what is, and this is leading to all the conflict in the world. We are unable to recognize that the other mode of expression is also a mode of expression. We don't need to point it out as wrong. We don't need to point our own expression as right. There are so many modes of expression. Everyone is trying to do the same thing. They are trying to understand the world. They are having different modes of it. You change yourself. You don't bother about what others are doing. You bother about yourself, and that is what is absent in our in this world, and slowly this is increasing also, we have noticed. So as human beings, I feel that our duty would be to recognize our level of soul, and once we do that, that would be the driver for that would change us in the right direction. In the right direction it will, because it inherently knows what there is. It inherently has a feeling that the greater powers are in existence. So if you ultimately come to some mode of your life where you do everything, your mental expression, your physical expression is aligned to that, you would be satisfied. You would not be in a frustration of what you are doing. You would not have some unhappiness within you about this. So that is why it is very important to awaken ourselves. So many spiritual institutes are using this term awakening and all this. So it means awakening our soul, this level of our. This is important. To me, it is important. So what I understood is that to this we have come to a conclusion that the ability of the soul is to feel, the ability of the mind is to think, and the ability of the body, the physical body, is to express. These are the inherent, these are basic abilities, the fundamental abilities of these three different levels. Now, our traditional institutions have focused on our ability to think and our ability to express. So we, through our schooling and through our college days and everything, we have been taught or trained in our mental and our physical ability. However, none of the traditional institutes are doing anything on our ability to feel, and they are almost not recognizing that there is a soul. But it is there, and it is important that we recognize this and we train ourselves in this ability of the soul, which is to naturally understand or naturally intuit and have a feeling about what there is. So we have to awaken this. We have to awaken our soul, and that is what we need to do. And I feel that that is a duty of our, that is the duty of human beings to try to understand their own souls first. So dig deep down beyond their mental abilities, beyond their mental capacities. If there is something, try to look there and discover their own soul. And when they have discovered, they should try to talk about it to other fellow human beings and their next generation, so that all of us have an awareness of what is the an awareness of our innermost level of existence, and we are able to appreciate that, and and we don't stick around uh, to our given uh, state of beliefs and uh, thoughts. So that initial thing to start with, right? What we termed as religion. So we don't stick there, and we try to evolve from that initial condition and explore ourselves, and that would lead to actually a lot of less uh, intolerance. The intolerance in this world right now is happening because we are unable to change our mindset, we are unable to change our modes of expression, and that is because we are not in recognition with our soul, because the soul would be the driver of this change. So we are unable to change, and we are thinking,
Okay.
and so
Another
let me
question
just
like that.
conclude. So we are thinking that what we are doing is right and what the others are doing is wrong, but we should acknowledge that everyone is trying to do the same thing actually, but their modes of expression are different. Everyone is trying to understand this world and work in this world, but their modes of expression are different. So apparently there is no conflict, but in the conflict is there in their modes of expression. But it is not good to term these things as right and wrong and go in a mode of intolerance due to that. That is not good. Yes. Now I think you can ask some.
Okay, so what you said, the intolerance comes from is absolutely I agree there that we don't able to think properly or feel properly. But what happens is that we always tend to term things right or wrong in order to work better or some process our mind like that.
Hmm.
So if we are from the background of science
Hmm.
or we are from the background of religion, that doesn't matter. So we are inherently coming from some, let us say, some mode of thinking of our previous mindset.
Yeah.
So how do we now, if most of the people think that if we have to change, then the previous expression is right, sorry, the previous expression is wrong, then we are changing towards the right. Is this
Hmm.
the right mentality that we need to change things have to be right or wrong, or at that point of time, it's what I feel that I should believe in?
So uh, can you please reframe your question again in one line probably?
Okay, yes. Yeah, in one line, people always tend to change because they feel something is right or wrong. Their
Hmm.
previous mindset or the new mindset they are coming to believe in.
Hmm.
So, is this the right way to do thing, or we can just think it like that? At this point of time, I have a better understanding of this point of view, so I am believing in this thing.
Hmm.
Maybe the previous expression was not right or wrong, but now it feels more convenient to me. Is this
Hmm.
should this be the mindset or approach?
For one's own personal development, this is how we work. This is the mode of thought that we adopt. So we try to understand, we try to get a feeling whether we are feeling it correct or not. Okay, but and so what you told is what we all do. But one thing I actually want to highlight here. So if you are this approach, uh, so this approach actually comes from basically our level of mind and not from the level of soul, because what we think as we are feeling most of the time is coming from our uh, some analysis of some superficial thing, or like it's not an inherent feeling. That is what I am trying to say. Of course it might be an inherent feeling to some of us, but not to most of us. It is for most of us, it is an intellectual process. So whether I am terming something as right or wrong depends on some intellectual activity, not on the inherent feeling. And when it is like that, then uh, then there is a problem of probably going in loops and always like reiterating your point of view, and actually that also leads to frustration, and some people stop and they just stick to one point of view and just adopt it for life. So uh, uh, so that is a thing. So for individual growth, this is how things work, and this doesn't really so that for that person it will matter if you are not actually in touch with your soul. But if you are not disturbing anyone else by going into a mode of intolerance towards them, then it is fine actually, because everyone has their own like own process of growing, and everyone has their own process of understanding themselves. But during that process one should not start demeaning and like terming others as wrong or right. That is the thing.
Right. So the whole point of questions from my side was arising from this actually terminology of intolerance, because of religion. There has some turmoil of religion in recent our times, as we can see, because of different point of views only.
Hmm.
Because I don't see different religions at different like origins may be there, but the ultimate purpose is the same. But
Hmm.
still there are intolerance, and
Hmm.
they still like originate from the same point of view, like from the worshipping
Hmm.
or understanding the
Hmm.
greater power. But
Yes.
but in science as well, or in philosophy as well, I am not aware of philosophy that much, but in science I can tell. In science as well, where the whole mode of development was logical understanding, but still people tend to term each other as right or wrong without fully understanding what other feel.
Hmm.
And that's how the whole process of intolerance in scientific minds are arising in these days. And this conflict starts as well when their own beliefs is challenged by someone else's beliefs, and which is different in some kind of way, and
Hmm.
then tend to say each other that you are not understanding properly, I am right, you are wrong. So this
Hmm.
whole process is because the our mass not like collectively not understanding or trying to reach our soul.
Yes, that is my submission. That is my understanding.
Okay.
That is my understanding from what I have gathered from my own spiritual understanding. And when I use the concepts even laid down in the spiritual discourses and try to see the world from utilizing those concepts, I see that most people are not working from the soul level. They are either working from the mental level or the physical level. And as you said, as you were asking the question, something struck me. Probably I can say that people who are stuck in a religious dogma, and they are believing that they are right, so they are working from the physical expression level. They are not even going to the mental level. And people who are stuck in a scientific dogma, they are probably working from the mental level, but they are stuck there. They are in the intellectual limbo. So I am not saying that they are dumb people, but they are in an intellectual limbo because they are unable to shift their intellectual gear. and understand another point of view. Okay, so they are working from the mental level, but they are stuck there. That is what I am saying.
And also, one thing I would like to ask is that mainly scientific people that have problem with religion people, I will say, yes, I will use the term problem because of
Hmm.
there are various as I said earlier, prejudices
Hmm.
related to religion and what you express as something to start with, something you have to do
Yes.
this, you have to do that if you are of some particular religion,
Hmm.
and this is some particular problems with religious people and scientific people. The origin of conflict is this prejudices. So how much justified the prejudices are in our today's world or in our modern culture?
So if those prejudices have some development, have some philosophical or logical development behind them, then the person following this prejudice, following that particular mode of expression, so that prejudice is basically a mode of expression, correct? So that mode of expression that they are following, that the rites or rituals, whatever they are performing, if they have some logical understanding and it fits their own logic system, then that person is good, I would say. They are not in conflict to anything that that they have understood. They are trying to align themselves with their understanding. If this person, the problem will start if this person thinks that only this is correct and other things are wrong. Then what happens? Then they are basically, uh, even if there is a logical understanding and which they understand, so they are stuck in the physical level because they are having a mode of expression and they have a logical understanding and they have a mental expression also, but they are stuck in these two, and they are stuck because they have not awakened their soul and understood that there are also other modes of expression which are trying to address the same thing.
Can you give some few examples where the prejudices arose from a logical understanding? Like, do you have something in mind?
I can say that what we say about mantras, when we chant mantras, uh, we always, it is our observation that if we sit somewhere where good music is getting played, where nice like very strong powerful vocal performance is getting it is getting performed, some speech is getting delivered, so this gives some energy to us. We cannot really measure that energy. For me it is different, for you it may be different. So uh, I may be liking a special certain genre of music and you may be liking another genre of music. However, it is a common understanding that this affects us. So how this effect is, whether this uplifts us, whether it does something good to us, these things have these things are points of debate. However, if we acknowledge only this, that this has some effect. So the sound has some effect on human beings at some level. Okay, so this is an understanding which should be common to all, and that common understanding can be termed as a truth which resides in the level of soul. So we all know inherently that sound has an effect on us, but then we will start discarding that chanting mantras does not do any good. Then we will uh, start um, uh, telling someone who is listening to hard rock culture as someone who is जैसे हम बोलते like they are just not of any good. Okay, so we'll to start to lay our judgment on people, and that is that happens because we don't understand this inherent realization which comes from our soul, that no, indeed sound has an effect on us. The mantras may not be having an effect on me, but those who are doing it, they are certainly having an effect on them. If they are experiencing that effect, then it is fine. If they are only chanting the mantras because someone has told them to, then it is not fine to them. But you don't have any right to go there and talk to them about it. That is your own intolerance. That is your own misunderstanding. If a person feels that effect in them by chanting mantras, if those who are listening to that person feels some positive effect, then that is fine. You also feel a positive effect by listening to certain type of music. No one is coming to tell you that don't listen to this type of music. The main truth is that sound has an effect, and that truth is already discovered by your soul. You know that truth, but you will not work from your soul level, and hence you will judge other forms of expression of the same truth. Basically, everyone is expressing that same truth in different ways. So I hope this is a good example.
Yes, I this is
Similarly, you take idols or pictures. So we have some inherent feeling about a certain picture. So when we look at a picture of a mountain, wide open range, we I think none of us would have a depressing feeling about. We will all have a very strong and solid and a very calm feeling about looking at a great mountain range. Now that feeling for some idols are also same, or something extra additional or something else. If someone looks at a particular idol, they have some feeling about it. You might not have that feeling. That is fine. You might develop that feeling later on. That is also fine. You might discard your feeling later on. That is also fine. But right now you are feeling something. So that feeling, that whenever we see something, we feel something about it. That is a truth. And for many classes of objects, that feeling is uniform across us. We don't like to see garbage. We don't like to see um, like untidy places. Okay, so probably that is common to most of us, and we like to see beautiful landscapes. We like to see it. We have our we like to see all this, something beautiful, like a polished building. Okay, so this is uniform across us, but something can be different, and we should not judge.
right. Judgment basically comes from intolerance, I guess.
Judgment
Basically,
basically comes from our inability to recognize the truth in the soul level. When we recognize that truth, I understand that the other person is also working from that truth, even if that person is unaware of it, because that truth is same for everyone. At the soul level, we don't have any expression, but just the truth, and that is same for everyone. This is a fundamental axiom of spiritual philosophies. Then, when we work with that truth, depending on our mental body and our physical body, the expressions become different.
And also I guess the like the origin of how religion started is also has some effect on some geographical aspect, like from where we belong in the past, our ancestors, where did they belong from. And because in Hinduism there are much more prevalence of vegetarianism. I'm not generalizing, but most of the cases, because probably in India or in surrounding these places, there are much greeneries and all. But another in Muslim, which originated in South Asia or those kind of country, there were some shortage of vegetables, so it was mostly meat and something. So, but that originated from the same idea, but ultimately ended up on two different terminologies and something like that, I guess.
Yes, yes, that is true. Whenever we are building some system, we would we would take examples from what we are seeing around us,
Right.
and
Exactly.
that is different in different regions. So, in India, there is much prevalence of um, uh, like
Fruits,
water,
vegetables,
fruits, vegetables,
spices, yes.
rivers. Yes, all these things. And
Right.
also depending on the different regions, our culture is different. So the culture influences the religions. Okay,
Exactly.
so religion is the same. If you say about Hinduism, the religion is the same across the country, but it is followed in different ways, and different customs and different rituals are practiced in different parts of the country.
Yes, exactly.
Even for the same, even for the same ceremony, even for the same religious ceremony.
Exactly.
And now, if someone don't understand what is the deeper level truth behind this, then they will just say that part of the country is not celebrating in the right way. So they have a definition of right and wrong, which is absolutely nonsensical, because they have not even realized their own the level of
How
truth
did
which
our
is
culture or
coming
our
from the soul.
religion type
Yeah,
originate?
yeah. They are only restricted from their level of expression. They are restricted to their level of physical and mental expression. But the soul is same everywhere. That one needs to understand.
Right. That is true. That is very true. And I'm really thankful for this discussion and your time. Actually, it was
Yeah,
very
no problem.
knowledgeable for me as well. But that I could have a discussion with someone that have both understanding of spiritualism and science as well. This is a rare combination in our days, I would say.
Yeah, I like to discuss about these things, and I am happy to be able to remove uh, some of your queries probably. And
Yes.
if there is anything else, there is anything which comes to your mind later on, also
Yes, of course.
you are always welcome to send me your queries, and I will plan up something. I also like to speak on these things.
Yes, and I am trying to actually, as I told you earlier, I am trying to write something in our I am currently in science or nuclear physics, doing my
Hmm.
PhD work, and there as well in like in big scientific minds that there was this professor I was interacting with. He was very strong opinion about against Islamism, and we I had some discussion or maybe a kind of debate, but which was not going in a right direction, so I stopped.
Hmm.
So these kind of things happen. So in their magazine I'm trying to write something about this, and that's why I have understood that I firstly understand myself what is
Yeah.
exactly going on, then only I can write a good write up about it, or uh, because it will reflect the understanding that I have already in my
Hmm.
mind. So that's why I could I wanted to clarify some points with you, and thank you for that. And I will obviously show you the write up before submitting it.
Yeah, sure, no problem. It is difficult to actually go into debate with people who are stuck in their levels of expression.
Actually, because he just out of the blue, he just said a statement that Islamism is a very violent religion, and I was like, what the hell is wrong with you? You are a professor, and you studied your PhD from ISC Bangalore. You are a huge scientific mind. You publish in Nature, and then you suddenly, out of nowhere, you just suddenly come out and say Islam is a very uh, strongly offensive word using that, and I didn't like that, of course. And
Yeah.
there is also another incident is our one batchmate. She carries a photo of Swamiji in her wallet, and then I also carry that because I connect with him with some understanding, and his philosophy inspired me in my difficult times.
Hmm.
That's why. But then some people started to mock her, and I tried to make them understand that might not feel good about it, that she understands or she likes it. Then how should we? Why should we mock about it?
Hmm.
Then they are like, no, Swamiji has many flaws. Swamiji said this, which is not right. Swamiji said that, that is not right. I understand.
Hmm.
He was after all a human. Every
Hmm.
philosophy cannot be a whole truth. He never said it's the whole truth. If you connect it, it is true. If you
No,
don't
no
understand,
one,
you don't
no
have
one
to
can,
be ignorant about it.
yeah, no one can express the whole truth because the truth resides,
No one understands the.
even in a level which is beyond the soul. That is the what the spirituality says. The truth resides even at a level beyond the soul. The soul is able to grasp, grasp some of it, and then if it just stays there, then no one knows the truth. But if one has to know, it has to come through the mind and the body. And when it comes through the mind and the body, it becomes a specific expression. So it does not become, does not remain actually the truth. It becomes corrupted through the body and mind. And now people around us are also receiving it through their mind and body, and it is getting further corrupted. So one has to actually
And
realize from the soul level.
over
So it is more at a
various
purer level.
generations,
Yeah.
over various generations, there has been some corruption as well through the
Yeah.
generation as their point
Yeah.
of view,
Yeah.
and
So
something like that.
Swamiji, I don't know if you are talking about Swami Vivekananda. So Swami
Yes, yes.
Vivekananda, Swami
Um,
Vivekananda told this, that one has to actually do self realization. Self knowledge is the way to know. One cannot be taught anything. And that self knowledge that he was talking about is about awakening of the soul. Otherwise, whatever knowledge comes to you comes through your mind and stays there. So you listen to someone, you try to, automatically your intellectual brain will start working, and it comes from another source. It comes to you and then gathers in your heart, in your system, but it has a corruption there. Now you have to actually realize it from within also. Unless you are able to do that, it is not complete. That learning is not complete.
right, right, exactly. Thank you again for your
Yeah,
time. I have not
yeah, no
thanked well
problem.
enough. But yes, thank you.
Okay, okay then. So nice talking to you. Also, thanks for your questions, which actually, actually this slide I prepared just yesterday. So your questions led me to put things down in this manner. So perhaps if the questions are different, things would be put down in a different manner. So it is also my own personal expression. However, I've tried to put out what actually needs to be done, or what actually the thing is, in my own way, and hopefully it has reached to
Right.
you. That is
Yes, yes, that is true.
okay.
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 Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.